for community relations. And right now, the community relations in our city, it's not the best. And it's very judgmental and it's very picky. It's a public record. And I will share this right now with the committee, and it literally just happened. Ms. Gray had to get up from this call and was calling the police because somebody had just rolled up on her front yard to harass her.
I didn't know that you were made aware of that. That is true. That is why you saw me on the phone and getting up and getting down, and I was terrified that you would think I would.
I have, yes. So I will say that I wasn't planning to say anything, and I normally don't on appointments to committees like this, but let me be really graphic. Whoever that person was, from whatever point of view, and whatever you think about Ms. Gray or anybody else I appoint who steps forward into the public, this is bullshit. So when somebody tells me we're all going to work together and go forward and we need to make a committee of yes people, I would really like to say something that begins with an F, and this is what infuriates me. Do I think that there are concerns with Ms. Gray's application and me putting her forward? Yes, I've heard them from the community, absolutely. But the fact that somebody is sitting before us right now and we are talking to them about pulling people together, and if there is any victim blaming or shaming on us, the conversation cannot be exclusive. It is going to be painful, and it started some time ago. I would just have you all take that into, and that's all I'll say, because I am speechless and extremely disappointed in our community, all of us, extremely, including myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I speak?
Just 1 second. Councilor Conniff.
So that is extremely disturbing. That is happening in this community. I am appalled. It speaks volume to the kind of environment that we're all in, where we're all, we portray ourselves as social justice warriors, and yet we shame people on Facebook and in all other corners of this community who differ from our opinion. That is appalling, and that's something each and every one of us are going to have to look at and examine and reflect on. In specific for this particular appointment, absent all the other stuff that's going on right now, which anyone who's involved should be ashamed of themselves, and I don't know how you can adult if that's the way you behave. But in my opinion, and relative to this particular committee, there's just a couple of things I want to say. I want to say that I acknowledge and recognize that the appointments that are come through to the City Council are not endorsements by the mayor. The mayor is taking requests, or she's taking people from the community who are expressing a desire to participate in this city and making this city better. And she puts those forward so that we can have this kind of a dialogue. So the only, for me as a city councilor, when I see appointments come through, the only ones that I believe the mayor is endorsing are department heads. Everybody else, I believe, are residents of the city who want to move this city forward. And for that, I applaud you. However, when we put this committee together a couple of years ago, we did have some folks that we did not allow on the committee. One in particular, because of the opinions they expressed on Facebook and the way they comported themselves on Facebook. That matters. And everyone who applies for a committee needs to be aware that everything is public now, and it matters. And you are either stirring up people who think exactly like you, or you are hurting people deeply by what you put in Facebook or on social media. So I would, to anyone who is on this call or other calls, if you want to help this committee, stay off Facebook, because that's not helping. You are bullying and you are hurting people, and that's not cool. So in the case of Ms. Gray, I am disappointed in the editorial that I saw, and I am also disappointed in the dialogue that went on Facebook over the past couple of days. It seemed very aggressive and did not necessarily reflect, I think, what we're looking for on the Community Relations Committee. I think this committee has to be a group of people who are willing to look at all sides of the issue, not just the side that they align with. That's the point of this committee. You're going to get things that do not align with your ideology, and you've got to be okay with that, and you've got to be able to work through it with your committee members in a respectful and thoughtful way for the betterment of this community. And if you are unable to do that in a respectful way, then this is not the committee for you. And for me, I am not inclined to approve this particular nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Conniff. Councilor Rothschild?
Hi. Yeah, I'm going to agree with the President Conniff, and that I would not be inclined to approve this nomination. I was very concerned with what I read in the editorial. I was also at that event, and people can experience event differently, but the contrast is great to what I experienced and what this article lays out. But even with that said, even if, I'm not going to take away from anyone else's experience at an event, but there's certain phrasing in this editorial that makes me feel that Ms. Gray cannot be open-minded person to our community. Things like actual Black and immigrant people. It's not for anyone else to say if someone is an actual Black and immigrant person. I found this phrase extremely offensive, extremely tone-deaf. Another thing is the elbow thrusting grievances. I was actually impressed with the event because I did not find it it wasn't getting into our local police. It was talking about institutional racism. It was to say elbow thrusting grievances is minimizing when Black and brown people are saying we are sick of being killed. This is not an elbow thrusting grievance. So for anyone that would call the life and death grievances of people who want to live amongst us with respect as elbow thrusting, I find deeply minimizing of the experience of our fellow Americans and fellow Black and brown sisters. So yeah, I just found this really, troubling to say the least. The other thing is, I'm a good Googler, and Ms. Gray has an impressive resume and a letter. I have not found her byline in the New York Times and Reuters and the Boston Globe, anywhere that she's mentioned. I've seen 4 connections on LinkedIn. With this type of resume, I would expect to see more of an internet trail or life. So what I would ask the committee, I wouldn't approve it anyways based on the editorial alone, but there needs to be some verification of people's resumes that they put forward. I don't see any proof, and so this kind of brings up to me a question of someone's relationship with the truth. So that is what I'm going to say. I'm definitely would not be inclined. I can just say I would not approve of this nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Rothschild. Mr. Chairman, we don't have any other councilor, and the mayor already talked to us. We have a few people from the public that want to speak, but I think it would be good if Kathy have a chance to talk.
I would agree wholeheartedly. Agreed, Chairman.
Can you still hear me now?
Yeah, Miss Gray.
We just need the chairman's acknowledgement, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll let Kathy speak, and then we'll let the rest of the public go after. Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Thank you. It is certainly true that I'm a little bit shook up at having someone come to my house to try to prevent me from speaking to you, my beloved neighbors in Easthampton. So I'm trying to regain my composure here a little bit, and I hope you'll bear with me. I have a little introduction to read, and then I have an addendum relating to the article in the Gazette. So, hello again, and my name is Kathy S. Gray. I love Easthampton, and I've been a homeowner here for 15 years, during which time I have been an educator in Springfield, in Holyoke, and in DYS high-security juvenile treatment facilities. I'm also a lover of dogs, a gardener, and a happy hiker on Mount Tom. Prior returning to the United States in 2005, I was going way back a graduate student at UMass, then a community servant in the Haitian community of Greater Boston as the coordinator of the Haitian Health Institute at Boston Medical Center. And I had already spent considerable time in the Caribbean, and I was invited to teach at the American School in Haiti. Following the 1991 right-wing military coup d'etat in Haiti, which closed schools, I became a political asylum caseworker with the Geneva, Switzerland-based International Organization for Migration. And we sent hundreds of families to safety in the United States who were targeted as union organizers or voting station managers or just people with an opinion that somebody else didn't like who was in power. And those who didn't escape were tortured and kidnapped and murdered. So I and my team were very aware of the urgency of our work. When the UN multinational forces at last intervened and political asylum was no longer relevant, I became a Reuters journalist. And if anybody would like to verify this, ask the library to do a press search. You can't get it on Google because you have to subscribe to the press search, and you will see all the dozens and dozens of articles that I wrote for Reuters. And then an ABC News assistant producer, and I was able to disseminate information that I thought was important to a global audience. My articles were published in the Boston Globe, the Miami Herald, the New York Times, other newspapers from Durban to Tokyo, and it made me aware of the power of information to drive public awareness. Throughout this time, I continued to provide expert witness testimony in immigration courts for Haitian applicants for political asylum. On the basis of that work, I was invited to join the United Nations Organization of American States Joint Civilian Mission in Haiti as a United Nations human rights observer and was given State Department clearance. I reported to ambassadors, to the then chief of the interim police, Ray Kelly, who went on to become police chief of New York City, and finally to General Shalikashvili. I suppose I should mention that all of this work was done during a time of extreme violence. People were shooting at us. It was very high risk. We saved a lot of lives, and I was fortunate to work with some of the finest, most heroic people I ever met. I then went on to work as a private consultant for groups including video crews, US senators, fact-finding committees, and others. And I became a leader in the rural traditionalist community where I was based and lived for many happy years. In 2004, there was another right-wing coup, and for my safety, I returned to the USA in February 2005 because those, such as myself, who were identified with the left, or even with radical ideas such as adult literacy and democracy, were at risk once again. And as I mentioned, I served in Western Massachusetts as an educator in urban schools for 15 years. I am now retired, although I hope to continue with my professional activities. When I returned to the USA, I had an online business, and I really could have settled anywhere, but I chose Easthampton. And I'm very glad I did. We have a wonderful town. And I've always wanted to be more effective in serving this community. Following my appointment to the Community Relations Committee, I attended a meeting. I dare venture one comment, and as I've reiterated this to the mayor and to the membership, I am not interested in having any political input on the committee, pro or anti any given position. I see a serious need for organization and for capacity building and for committee identity that is not issue-driven. Issues come, issues go. The Community Relations Committee endures. So as I see it, the function of the Community Relations Committee is not to promote partisanship or take sides. Its mission is twofold: to give a voice to each and every person in Easthampton. Each and every person. A community is made up of all the people who live within its borders, and those people belong to many communities. They belong to the scientific community, the homeowners community, the farmers community. But it is the goal, and it should be, to give a voice to each of those communities while affirming the unity of the larger Easthampton community. And secondly, to give a voice to the city agencies and clearly and transparently provide and explain the information generated by those agencies. We have seen recent examples of city agencies and the actions thereof having been poorly understood by the very people who are the intended recipients of that information. And in that vein, I produced and provided to committee members and to the mayor a Google slide presentation that merely restates and simplifies the Easthampton Police Department use of force by sworn personnel document. I've watched Mayor LaChapelle at work in a meeting, and I am really thrilled to have the opportunity to even be here. And so I'd like to just say one more word about how I came to be here. On August 1st, of course, we had a march in town. I thought, oh, good, let me go show some support. And I caught up with the march on Union Street. And I wrote about what I saw, and I criticized the tactics that I saw, which I believe are ineffective.
Excuse me,
I'm retired, but I wish to.
No, excuse me. No, excuse me. Are you almost done? Because we have a meeting at 6 p.m. and we have people from.
I understand. So I'm going to finish up very quickly because this is important.
Okay, thank you.
I'm retired, but I'm not dead. And I'm in the process of making a career change to the operational program-based work I have done in the past. So I sent my resume to Mayor LaChapelle and I said, here's my skills. Where would you like me to volunteer? Mayor LaChapelle met with me. She discussed the CRC, which is lacking in the required membership. I'm not telling secrets when I tell you that she mentioned that bullying behaviors like this have discouraged membership in the past and that the chair has just resigned, in fact. I told the mayor I don't care. I'm used to it because I have no desire to have any political input on the committee. I'm a writer. I write a lot. I've been a registered Democrat all my life, but I'm not a dogmatic person. I get published a lot. One week the Republicans are baying for my blood. The next week it's the Democrats. It makes me no difference. And I made it clear then and again at my first CRC meeting, I am not interested in promoting any political agenda. I am not for or against the 4-H club strolling their heifers, the Akin, MAGA, I don't care. I am interested in developing the capacity of the Community Relations Committee to empower every citizen in the town to have a voice, because we're really good at talking, but we're not so good at listening. And empowering every department of the city to bring information to the members of the city that they need. I don't have to defend myself against Facebook comments telling me, well, it doesn't matter that you're mixed race because you can pass for white and that changes everything. I'm not even going to address a Facebook post, and I don't think it's relevant here. Neither are my activities as a journalist, which I have been for 40 years now. I've been published 200 times in the Gazette. I don't think that's relevant. What I think is relevant is what I want to bring to the committee, which is capacity building, process, operational stuff. So I understand that Mr. Montgomery of Akin is perhaps going to be on the committee. I think that's wonderful. I think that's great.
Excuse me. Thank you. I think we hear you. I think Mr. Sherman want to say something. Thank you for your statement.
Okay, thank you. Kathy, if you know, when we have the full council meeting, during the public speak time, if there's anything you would like to continue or add on there, you know, you'd be more than welcome to continue.
Oh, I just want to say that, you know, my record speaks for itself, and I'm a little surprised that anybody would think I was making it up, but these are the skills and abilities that I have to offer on the CRC. That work is different from my work as a journalist or as an educator. On the CRC, I wish to have a non-political process, capacity building role. That is where the mayor said that she thought I could best serve.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just want to make sure we have enough time for others to speak. So, Councilor Gomez, if you would open it up to the rest of the public. My ask is that everybody please be respectful and keep it to you know, 3 minutes time frame so that we can allow everybody to have an opinion and a voice as well. So, Councilor Gomez, I'll let you open it up there, please.
Thank you, Mr. Sherman. First, I just want to apologize because I don't know who was the first one, but I'm going to start with the first one at the list that I have in front of me. Liz.
Thank you. I'll be brief. Much of what I had to say, Councilor Rothschild has already said, and I would like to echo that. One thing that I would add, I do not stand for harassment of any type. What if that happened to Kathy Gray? That is terrible. I know it has happened to members of the participants of the protest that happened on August 1st. I will say that it is lucky for Kathy that she felt that she had the ability to call the police in that incident. Not everybody is so lucky. I think I would like to say also, if the application process is a first come, first served basis, I would think that maybe we could readdress how that is done in the future. And one thing that I'll say to Kathy, I sent an email to all the counselors. It addressed her editorial to the Gazette, and I also sent a link to a post that she had on Facebook where she compared the destruction of Confederate statues to the start of I'm sorry, the word I'm looking for, excuse me, the massacre killing of white people, the genocide.
Can I help you out?
The genocide.
I compared the destruction of statues to desensitization.
Excuse me, point of order.
So
mute everybody, please.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right. We're not going to have debates. We're not going to go back and forth, please. Specific attacks, we don't want to have anything on anybody. We're not going to have debates going back and forth, please. We got to be respectful of everybody and just continue. So thank you. Councilor Gomez, unmute, and we'll wrap up that and go on to the next.
So thank you very much. And in that Facebook post, she compared that the demolition of these Confederate statues was the triggering of white genocide. And I just feel that anybody that holds that kind of belief is not suitable for sitting on the CRC. I don't think they're in tune to what is actually happening in our community and in our nation abroad. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Kate?
Councilor Gomez, this is...
Yes, Councilor Conniff.
So I'm going to apologize in advance for what I'm about to do. And what I'm about to do is ask that this meeting end because we have to start the city council meeting. And we're on the same login, unfortunately. What I would encourage, however, I know you guys have to take a vote. And I don't know how you want to do that, but we can give you maybe another minute, but we have to give Easthampton Media time to get the live connection set up. So.
Okay, we're gonna take 2 minutes. We're gonna vote if Mr. Chairman wanna do that.
Yeah. So I want to make a statement to everybody that is pending right now, waiting to have a conversation. Please dial into the full council meeting and address it during the public speak time at the full council so the entire council can hear your opinion as well. And then we will be voting on this later on in the full council meeting. So just so everybody can be heard, that's the opportunity now at this point because we have to end this meeting. So between Councilor Gomez and Councilor Kwasinski, I will entertain a motion from either one of you, please.
I just wanted to say that I certainly understand the urgency. I wish we could continue for everyone. I do believe that everyone deserves a fair opportunity to speak on the subject and to rebut and to talk so that we could communicate. In the absence of having that time now, I will move to adjourn this meeting at this time. The city council meeting begins in 12 minutes.
Second.
6 p.m.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to adjourn. We will further discussion. So that means that we are going to continue this moving forward, correct? Everybody's good on that?
I am good with that. This will be continued to move forward either at the council meeting this evening or at a subsequent appointment subcommittee meeting, depending on the will of this committee or the council in full.
Yep, I agree.
Well, all right, we have a motion to adjourn, but the discussion is more along the line. So I guess a point of order, can we pull back the motion real quick so we can continue it to the...
I remove my second.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to continue this to the next appointments committee meeting, and we will further that.
What, can I, point of order, may I speak, please?
Yeah.
So we can have this, you can come forward to city council with a no recommendation, and we can have this forum in city council. So we can allow all the folks who have speak, and you guys
I like the idea.
council with no recommendation.
Okay, let's do that then. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second?
Yep.
Do I hear it?
No, but you
Okay,
can. But you can second it. Yep.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor, Councilor Gomez?
Aye.
Councilor Kuzinski?
I am not comfortable with the moving to a full city council, so I will vote no. I think that this should be continued at a different meeting, so I vote no.
To adjourn?
Okay.
To adjourn.
Okay.
And I'm voting yes, so
2-1.
motion passes 2-1. Meeting is adjourned, and we'll talk shortly in full council. Thank you.
See you soon,
Thank
guys.
you.